Hello, my name is Joseph Ally. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about everyone is you pushed out. So this is one of the deep fundamentals of manifesting, and something that when this topic is grasped, you will be able to fully understand any which way to go in order to manifest your desires. So, uh, you know, the idea of life is that everyone is a separate entity and that we have control over our sphere, our personal space, our life. And we could do very little about controlling the outcome of anything at all, except for the basic things that we have to do in our life. So many times we were continuously on the defensive of something bad happening. We would just go to work, hope for the best, expect the worst, and live our life day by day. But everyone is you pushed out is throws that whole thing into reverse. So if you can really truly grasp this concept of everyone is you pushed out, then you will be able to dispel easily the true information from the false when it comes to manifesting. You will be able to understand fully how it works and how, if other people truly have free will, or how to get anything you want. So with this fundamental, you will be able to apply whatever technique that you want and know for a fact that you're doing it properly. And again, this is a crucial fundamental topic that I think it's not very clear, and a lot of people don't have a firm understanding on this. And that's why I want to kind of go in and step by step explain to you exactly how to perceive everyone as you pushed out and give you a couple of examples of how this works. So the best way to describe our reality, which you can test this idea in theory. Now, this is completely mind-blowing, but the best way to describe how this reality works, and your reality particularly, is that your mind is like a projector. And not a projector in the sense of dispelling simply pictures and movies, but literally shining your entire existence onto this reality. So the source of your reality is from your mind. All the ideas, all the assumptions, beliefs, imaginal acts, inner conversations, spiritual sensations or imaginal sensations that are going on inside of you is the source. So you are the director feeding this mechanism, your mind, your subconscious mind, through the means of your imagination. You are feeding the subconscious mind the tape reel, and it's feeding in and it's projecting outward. And every single event, person, experience, people, place, thing, the weather, every single thing that you ever experienced in your world first came from your mind. So that goes to say that no one in this world is acting independently of you. It's your assumptions, your beliefs, your ideas, your assumptions of how people are acting, how to perceive people in the first place, how you are perceived, how you are experiencing the world. All of those things inside of your mind are feeding this reel into the subconscious mind, which are creating seeds, and they are all attached and grow out of your subconscious mind. So that goes to say that no one at all that comes into your awareness, no thing, no person, no event, no experience, nothing is independent of you. So everything was set into motion to come into your consciousness through your mind. That is what everyone is you pushed out means. And it stems back from the biblical, from the Bible, and it talks about how we are all one. right? We all have God inside of us. We all have Christ inside of us, is what it says in the Bible. So this is easily testable. You can test this true, prove this true simply, very simply, that this is an absolute fact, right? Now, the thing is that it's not that we are changing people when we change our concept of self, but we are not saying in our mind, I am changing, I want this person to change, and so they change. No, it's the opposite. You change in your mind, and the person must fit the conception that you hold in your mind, right? And that's why topics such as like sending love and things of that nature, they don't make sense, because you're not sending it to anyone. It's only existing in your mind, right? So to say to send love or to change someone else would mean that they are a separate entity than you. But instead, the reason they are who they are is because of the conception that you hold of them in your mind. So if your conception of someone else in this world changes, then that will plant a seed, and that person must conform to the way that you perceive them. Now, there may be a bridge of incidents. There may be different events that transpire between the time you perceive them a certain way, the time you assume they are a certain way, and the time they become that thing. So it's very important not to get caught up and stuck perceiving this outside world, because otherwise, instead of changing the conception that you have of this world in your mind and staying fixed on that idea and waiting for it to change, if you react to the middle grounds of circumstances in this world, then you will be feeding your subconscious mind that, and it will continuously get stuck there in a loop over and over and over again. So with manifesting, the idea is that you hold a conception of something in your mind, and everything in this entire world must conform to that image. And that is how manifesting works. So you take an idea of what you want, of how you want this world to be, right? Because this world is only in place in this particular order because that is how your mind is in this particular order. Now, the reflection sometimes is instantaneous, but oftentimes there's a slight delay. And for that reason alone is why we all were asleep up until we realized that we can manifest. Now, there's a lot of ideas out there that are basically explaining that everything is independent of you, but you can interfere by imagining something, and then by interfering, you attract something to you. But this isn't so, and I want you to test this. What you do is you hold a conception of something in your mind different from the way that it appears in this world, and you will watch everything conform to it. What this proves is that the sole source of all the events in this world stem from your imagination, because your imagination impresses the subconscious mind, which in turn manifests on the screen of space. So the reason everything generally stays the same and always has kind of been relatively the same is because we were unaware of this. So instead of feeding our subconscious mind with our imaginal acts, which all things are possible in your imagination, right? So you can take your imagination and create whatever you want in there, and then hold that conception in your mind in first person point of view, very similar to how we're creating on a regular basis, and that will manifest in the screen of space. But back to the idea of why do things remain the same generally? How were we always holding this in place if we didn't know that? So the thing is that we always were. We were always creating the conception of our world. Always. Our world was always conforming to our mind. It does that automatically. That's what we were born with, that creative nature to hold and fix our world into place. But we didn't know this. So what would happen is the first image that we saw, we somehow perceived it in a certain way. It impressed on the subconscious mind and manifested continuously. Not knowing that we were doing this, all of our judgments, all of our assumptions, that's up to us. That's our choice, how we're going to believe things are going to happen, who we're going to listen to, what we're going to think about this, how I'm going to look at that person. That is up to us. And if we automatically are a negative person, then we will automatically begin to create this negative world. And because we don't know we're doing it, it's reinforced, right? Because it's manifested on the screen of space. And so when it's manifested, we don't know that we can change it through our imagination. So instead, we react to it. And when we react to it, it enters into our subconscious, we plant a seed, and we manifest it again. So if you want to change your concept of the world, if you want to change the world rather, change a person, change anything at all, we don't focus on literally thinking about changing them. We only have to change the way that we perceive them. That's it. So if you want someone to act a certain way, if you want to be with someone, married to someone, whatever the case may be, hold a conception of them in your mind in a certain way and don't react to the world during the period between the time you've planted the seed and the time it manifests, and it will happen in the fastest way possible. And it's literally impossible for the person not to become the person that you have perceived them as, because that is just how the world works. So I hope this was helpful. If you like this, definitely subscribe, hit the bell icon, go to the website sovereignmind.com and register for my email list, and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for watching.